Detroit Lions, of course, against the Rams. There's some anti-Matthew Stafford hate going on there in Detroit. Lions fan account is asking fans not to wear their old school Matthew Stafford jerseys to Ford Field on Sunday, calling for a flat-out ban on the number 9 Matthew Stafford jersey. I mean, to me, I think you should encourage people to wear it since he's never won a playoff game in Detroit. Why would you want to keep that mojo going? And by the way, if memory serves me, he got traded.
Correct.
Did he not?
Correct.
And he wasn't thrilled about it when he got traded. So he got a full-page ad in the Detroit Free Press bemoaning the fact that he never brought Detroit a playoff game. Or a playoff win, rather.
The fact is, the Detroit fan base absolutely adores Matthew Stafford.
I would think so.
Yes. However,
this
is a unique situation.
I get it.
Simply because it's the postseason, there is no way. This is the first postseason game in Detroit period.
Period.
Like Ford Field has never seen a Detroit Lions playoff game hosted there. So for them, it's beneficial if they're all in with Jared Goff in that side of the story, because that's who they are right now. Dan Campbell and this Detroit Lions team, I believe, is going to be ready to go. Detroit Stadium, it's going to be bonkers. It's
going to be awesome. Look, Jared Goff's already achieved more for the Detroit Lions in a couple of years than Matthew Stafford did in 9. That's a reality, plus his wife's on her. But that's another story, because as we all know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I'm sure Matthew feels like he married up. He didn't, but I'm sure he feels that way. But Jared Goff definitely gets the edge there, which brings us to all things football, and Jacoby's got it first and football.
So, Craig, when you look at this game and you hear, we're going to be talking about it for the next few days, about these storylines and the relationship between Stafford and the city and Goff and being rejected by the Rams and blah, 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 McVay, blah. Does any of this matter sort of once we get going in the
I'd lean on these guys. I would say no. It's for guys like us. It's for fans. It's the banter. It's talk radio type stuff, playing it up. The return of the prodigal son, number 1 overall pick. Never quite got it done there, but he'll put up some gaudy numbers. The kid that comes in that nobody wanted in the trade, and all of a sudden, bang, wins the division. There's great storylines. But, I always view it this way. I've been blessed to have gone to 10 Super Bowls. And the most disappointing thing, from my perspective, you guys may feel differently, I haven't played in it in one, is that once the coin toss happens, and you go back for the kickoff, and the offense runs on for the very first series, you're playing football. And we have the build-up. We're all edge of our seat type stuff. My gut is that once the first tackle happens, they're playing football, and they don't think about, oh, wait a minute, Jared Goff got traded, and Stafford never won here, and I see a Stafford jersey. I think that's more for us than it is them.
Yeah, but the issue is between the two quarterbacks, one won one and one lost one.
Sure.
That's the bottom line. And when it comes down to pedigree this time of year, it comes down to the character of the man. Who's willing to step up in a big moment? Who's willing to lead that team when all else fails? And for me, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm putting my money on Stafford, right?
Yeah,
because
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy who's has 40. This team has 44 touchdowns. You talk about a guy who's done a hell of a job of really bringing this offense to life. Because mid part of the season, everybody counted the Rams out, right? McVay was talking about a TV job. They're talking about Stafford being old and past his years. The offense is non-existent. They pulled themselves out of a grave. I think this team has the chip on their shoulder. Honestly, I think they're going into Detroit with a little bit of vengeance in their heart, and it's led by him. So
I don't think they have no vengeance towards Detroit. He might, because he's going home. But I see you smirking over there because why?
Because it does matter.
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
It does matter. When you, look, I get it. Matthew Stafford got traded. Next year, he goes and wins the Super Bowl. So that's all fine and dandy, but he didn't have to play Detroit. He didn't have to go back to Detroit.
Right.
And now that he has to go back to Detroit, they're hosting their first playoff game.
Big deal.
A place where he couldn't get that team to that point as far as hosting a postseason game. And it wasn't on Matthew Stafford solely. However, it never happened. It never manifested. So that's going to be playing in the back of his mind. He wants to play very well. Also, Jared Goff wants to play very well. This is a team that outed him for the guy that they
Right.
have now, and then they went and won a Super Bowl.
Turn their backs on.
You don't forget these things just because, yes, you have to play the game, but you don't forget that happened. You want to stick it to the organization that
I
either
get that. I
doubted
just
you
think
or
once
sent you on
I
your way.
don't think he drops back to pass. He's like those sons of bitches showed to me.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna throw the ball at Sean McVay, trading me.
No,
for
but
Matthew
you want to know what
Stafford.
will happen?
Right.
He drops back to pass. He hits Amon-Ra St. Brown. He scores.
Looks
he
over
looks
McVay,
over to the
looks over
sideline.
McVay.
Like what?
Exactly.
Does he do this? Does he do this? I'll be Jared Goff. Touchdown. Kind of like that.
He doesn't do
That's
that, but he does that in his brain.
Yeah.
Why is that your go-to celebration?
Because it is. I tell you, for me, I will start handicapping the game more as the week goes on. But Detroit has not played really well. They played good against Dallas, obviously. In the game, they got stolen from them. They struggled with the Minnesota Vikings twice in 3 weeks. I know they won the game that mattered, obviously. They were terrible against the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
Goff was a turnover machine in a lot of those games over the last 6 weeks of the season. And I like Detroit. I want to see Detroit win. Yeah. It's a great story. I'm a blue-collar guy. I want the Browns to win. I want the Bills to win.
Yes.
I want Detroit to win. Sorry about Pittsburgh, they have no chance.
Except you like blue-collar teams.
Yeah.
That's a blue-collar team. It doesn't get more blue-collar than blue-collar.
Buffalo's more blue-collar than Pittsburgh.
Not more than Pittsburgh. You never heard Steel Mills?
Another story for another day. That being said, okay, I'm concerned about Detroit. They have not played great football.
I got the Rams.
I got the lines in this one, but sometimes we decide whether a win is a win or they didn't win that, they didn't play that well in a win. Like, when does it matter? When does it matter?
It doesn't matter. A win is a win.
Playoffs are win is a win. I agree with you on that.
You got to get in.
Anyway, much more on that game throughout the week, but now we know that Willie Colon is all about the Rams this week. So
I am.
You know that's
Lions.
going on Friday.
Lions
What else
win.
you got?
Mike Vrabel is no longer the head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
Good.
Do you think the Titans did wrong by Mike Vrabel?
No, he should have been fired. I don't know what all the hoopla is about. Yeah, this is the biggest no-brainer in the world to me.
You need sleep.
you're all right.
You're clearly a cranky person.
I know Mike Vrabel's a great guy. I know Mike Vrabel had great success there. I even went to an AFC Championship game
with Tannehill
that he lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. All good. I get it. Look, he's 9 games over 500, couple division titles, on and on and on. That being said, when you're in a division and the other 3 teams in your division are vying for a division title, and you're on the outside looking in, and the Houston Texans now come up with a rock star quarterback, and they're in the playoffs, right? And every other team that you're competing against is making a playoff run, and you now go back-to-back years out of the playoffs, and you didn't commit to the young quarterback as early as a lot of people like. Why shouldn't you be fired? Everybody else is going to the playoffs. You're going backwards. Bye-bye.
Yeah, but I think the biggest problem with starting with Vrabel's issues is when they let A.J. Brown out the door. I think him and the dysfunction between him and that GM at the time really kind of carried weight. Overall, man, this is a head coach who the players love. They love playing for Mike Vrabel.
They love him so much they've won 8 games in 2 years.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily an indictment on him. That's just an indictment that they don't have a quarterback.
He had a great run in Tennessee and probably overachieved when you look at the breadth of his career. But I love it when people are like, I can't believe that they fired Mike Vrabel. Dude, everybody else in the division is going that way, and you're going that way. Why shouldn't they fire you?
Yeah, the reason why.
It's not a job for life.
I'm with Willie on this one, and this one is different because at the end of the day, it's about wins. And the last couple of seasons, they haven't been able to produce wins. However, Willie brings up a great point. He has, in that division, probably one of the worst quarterback situation in that division moving forward. Now, we don't know what Will Levis is going to be. Anthony Richardson, obviously, with the Colts, we feel like he might be a little bit better to start. We'll see.
Right.
But for me, when you look at, it's like the Belichick situation. Who do you get to come in and say, okay, he's a better fit for us, or he's going to be better for us? Defensively, that's his thing. That defense has always been pretty stout. They just have never been able to get over that quarterback hump, and it wasn't him. He doesn't go out and say, you know what? I want this guy. I'm drafting that guy. Matter of fact, the guy that fits who he is, A.J. Brown, as you alluded to, they got rid of him. And it wasn't his choice. He never wanted to do that.
I agree.
So when you have an organization that is opposed to what you're trying to get done and the brand that you want to bring in and the culture or the type of guys that you want to bring in, that's not always on you. However, you have to win with what you're provided. That hasn't happened. I get it. However, for me, you don't fire a coach like that.
Craig, I give him the pass on the A.J. Brown thing. It was stupid.
Yeah.
And if you want to fire the GM over it, I would have supported that because it was asinine. It was like when DeAndre Hopkins left Houston, like, what are we thinking here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, he's your best player. Didn't make any sense to me. But we also play the media. I know we're a part of it. And one of the things that bothers me is that, there's a lot of opinions out there based on, do you like the guy? Mike Vrabel's a very likable guy. He was likable as a player, more in New England, of course. Likable as a coach when he turned around, that franchise, went to an AFC championship game, won a couple division titles. And by all accounts, great guy. Players love him. But we're in the results business. And it's interesting to me that while the Indianapolis Colts were vying for a division title, and the Houston Texans won the division. And Jacksonville was 8-3 at one point this year and seemed like a lock to go to the postseason. Obviously, it didn't work out. But they're all trending upwards, right? There's only one team in the entire division that's not, and it's his team. You don't get a job for life. So the fact is, back-to-back years with subpar play, a lot of losing, not a lot of winning, at some point, it's okay to fire a likable guy. He's going to get a job.
I agree with you, Craig, and I think sometimes a good coach and a good team, sometimes it's just not going to be forever. Bill Belichick might be no longer with the Patriots, doesn't mean he's a bad coach. But I'll say this about Mike Vrabel. There's certain coaches like Arthur Smith. His phone is not ringing right now for head coaching interviews.
Well, he sucks.
But Vrabel's going to get that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just didn't work out with the Titans. But Mike Vrabel's going to be a head coach. I expect him to be a head coach next year for another team.
I mean, he'll
and
get
other
offers.
coaches that get fired, I do not expect that. Ron Rivera, no.
When you
Smith, no.
hire a new head coach, right, it's tough to kind of get his culture implemented in the building. This team matched the identity of Vrabel, right? What failed Mike Vrabel was the quarterback. You understand, Ryan Tannehill failed. They have Malik Willis out of Liberty. Yeah. Can't find him anymore, right? And now you have Will Levis, who started 9 games. He's a rookie. He needs his time to grow. On top of that, he still kept everything together for the most part. You don't hear the circus coming out of that locker room. They are, for the most part, they fight hard. They just lack talent at the quarterback.
No offense, they were 6-11. Like, why are we fighting to save the guy's job?
Because at the end of the day,
6-11.
Because I'm pretty sure the guys in the locker room, like Derrick Henry in the press, he goes, I'm shocked. I thought he was a lifer. Like, he is a lifer as a coach. He needed time. I think he should have been extended.
Here's how you become a lifer. You become a lifer when you never have a losing season, Mike Tomlin. You become a lifer when you win 6 Super Bowls, Bill Belichick. Vrabel's a great guy. He's a great guy. He had a couple great years. He hasn't won a damn thing.
Yeah, but this is the problem, though. Like, you say this is how you become a lifer when you never have a losing season. Well, Mike McCarthy's not having a losing season. He hasn't had a losing season with the Dallas Cowboys. The moment he doesn't produce in the postseason, it's like, let's get him out of here. Let's go find another guy. Like, my issue with the Vrabel situation is, who are you bringing in that's going to change the trajectory of where you are?
Yeah.
Quicker than what he would. Like, who's that guy? Because it's not a coaching problem.
Exactly.
You don't have a Nick Sirianni issue where it's like the players quit. No, they didn't. They actually played hard for this man, despite what they were able to overcome this season. So for me, who's going to be that next guy that you plug in?
I want to be clear. I don't mean to come across knocking Mike Vrabel. By all accounts, he's a great dude, and it was a very good coach. And I agree with that last thing you said. They won their last game. They didn't quit. They didn't roll over and die and go, we're going to Cabo, screw the coach. They didn't do that. We've seen a lot of teams do that. But again, we defend people because they're likable. He's been a failure the last couple of years, and I don't blame Tennessee for saying it's time to move in a new direction. Like, the guy's been there a decade.
It's going to hurt him.
He's never won a damn thing. It's time to move on. And there's plenty of young, hot stud offensive coordinators that could take that job and maybe make Will Levis a legitimate quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's a bad.
Look,
bad
you're an
move.
opportunity, kid. I keep telling you. Want something? It's right here. Just come get it. Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.